I'd like to welcome our guests who are joining us. I'm going to let people jump on here just for a minute and then we'll be getting started. Willow, these look beautiful. I'm so excited to learn about chocolates tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited to I do these kind of tastings with mostly just friends. I've never actually done it on a kind of a big event like this, so this will be fun to kind of do with a little more formality, I guess.
Good. I'm excited. Well, I see that we're just rolling around to 7. It looks like most of our guests have joined us. So I'm going to stop screen sharing here so you can see our guests. And I just want to welcome you. Thank you all for joining us tonight for this virtual chocolate tasting event with the Wenatchee Valley Museum. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank Yeti Chocolates for partnering with us on this event. They have generously agreed to donate half of the proceeds from tonight's event to the museum. So thanks to all of you for purchasing tickets to this event and for participating at home and for your support for the museum. I also want to welcome our members. I see a few members and some familiar names there popping up. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our members and our community for their continued support for the museum. For those of you who are not already members, I invite you to join us. We've got great virtual events like these, online classes, virtual tours, rotating exhibits, educational programs, and fun community events year-round. Here at the museum, our job is to gather with our community, to engage and to educate. Tonight, we have the opportunity to meet virtually to learn about Yeti Chocolates, a wonderful local business, and we get to jumpstart the holidays with early access to their Season's Greetings collection. I am so excited to introduce Willow Merritt, the owner and chocolatier of Yeti Chocolates. Hi, Willow.
Hi, hello everybody. I'm really excited to get the opportunity to kind of share my passion and run through this tasting with all of you guys. And yeah, this is totally early access to the Season's Greetings collection. It hasn't quite launched yet, but I thought that this would be a really fun opportunity for you guys to kind of get a sneak peek before they're actually on sale. And then as an extra incentive, I also wanted to provide a 6th piece that isn't available at all. There might be one person that's participating tonight that may have had it before because she's a subscriber to my Yeti of the Month Club, but otherwise it's an unveiled flavor. So.
Good. I'm so excited to dig in and learn more. I also want to introduce Lorna Klemanski. She's the Vice President of the museum's Board of Directors. Welcome, Lorna. Thank you both for joining.
Thank you, and welcome to everybody else. I think this will be a really fun evening.
Good. And I want to share some news from the museum so everybody's all up to date on the latest news that the museum's featured art gallery and our gift shop are still open by appointment. We're excited to share that, and I'd love to invite you all to come see our new featured exhibit, which celebrates the centennial of women's suffrage. And you get to take in the 90th anniversary show of the Women Painters of Washington. So make an appointment, visit the museum, learn a little bit about our local and state history, take in that gorgeous art. And if you splurge on the painting you've had your eye on, 30% of those proceeds go to the museum. So Willow, let me turn it over to you. These chocolates look absolutely fantastic. Would you tell us about this beautiful package?
Yeah, definitely. So the Season's Greetings collection is only offered in basically December. It's just a month offering. And they're all very holiday inspired flavors. I wanted to kind of create just a specialty box available just for the, during the holidays to kind of give people a little something extra that they could share with other people. December is definitely the busiest time of year for me. People love to give chocolate as gifts. And so this is just kind of an extra opportunity to do something fun, do something different. And so essentially kind of how I want to do the tasting tonight, it would be really easy to go from like left to right in the box. But in order for you guys to kind of get like not overwhelmed, because there's some flavors that are a little more delicate where some are a bit bolder, I kind of want to do it in a little bit of a different way than how they're displayed. So the first flavor I want to start with is the Hobnog. So it is the one that is white on the top and chocolate on the bottom in the little cannelé mold. Yep, it's that guy right there.
beautiful. I think this was the one I first had my eye on. I'm glad we're starting here.
Yeah, so the Hobnog is an eggnog chocolate. It is actually made with homemade eggnog. I made my eggnog from scratch, and then I turn it into a ganache. And so it's the idea behind the name of it is I kind of did a little play on words. So hobnobbing is like socializing, and then nog is a drink you drink during the holidays. So I just kind of combined those together, and that's how I came up with the name. But
when you said that, I was going to ask some question about it being a fancy chocolate name. So I'm really glad to hear that.
yeah, I didn't want to do, I like to come up with creative names for my chocolates. So that's kind of how I came up with it.
Ooh,
And it looked like,
an excellent question from chat. If you don't mind me interrupting.
no, go for it.
We have someone asking, what wine should we be drinking with these delicacies?
I would say any kind of red wine would be perfect, but
Okay.
it's your choice of, or if you're a white wine drinker, you could definitely do that, or sparkling is probably perfectly acceptable.
Sadly, I'm stuck here at my desk. Someone give me wine.
I would say it would be good to have some sort of palate cleanser, whether it be wine or some sort of aperitif, just so that you're not getting your palate overwhelmed between the flavors.
Okay.
So essentially the eggnog, it's classic. It's a classic holiday drink. It's got cinnamon and nutmeg and clove and vanilla. I use real vanilla bean in it, and milk and cream, and it's all the deliciousness. And it actually has an egg, and it has egg yolks and sugar. So but I cook it, so it's not like it's not raw. So don't worry about that. That is the first one. So please enjoy the first chocolate. I look forward to hearing in the chat comments what people think.
Oh, wow. It's like a holiday in my mouth. Oh, Willow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm getting some of those holiday spices. I'm getting the eggnog. That's delicious. Cinnamon?
Yep, cinnamon.
Okay.
And I grind my own cinnamon, so it's fresh.
Kathleen said she was busy getting her red wine and wants to know which one we're tasting. We are tasting this delicious chocolate. Will you remind me, Willow? And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. Hobnog.
The hobnog, yes.
The hobnog. Oh, wow. So Willow, tell us about your background. Have you always been a chocolatier? What made you decide to?
So I have always been kind of interested in working with chocolate. My mom was a really good baker and cook, and so I used to work, like she used to make Christmas cookies and almond roca and all that sort of stuff during the holidays, and I would help her out with those sort of things. And so that was kind of how I got the foundation of being interested in pastry and baking. And then when I went to college, I decided that I wanted to go to culinary school. So I left, I graduated college, I went to culinary school, and I got the foundation of what I do now. And then I just decided that this was what I wanted to focus on. So I actually did wildland firefighting for about 10 years. And so I would fight.
Like wildland firefighter and chocolatier often go hand in hand. So that's a pretty impressive combo.
Yeah, it was strategic. It was because I could fight fire in the summer and make chocolates in the winter.
Well, there you go. It's beautiful. That's life planning right there.
Right. Well, that's good to know. Judy said that I'm not a fan of eggnog, but that was outstanding. Love the nutmeg hints.
Oh, it was nutmeg. That's what it was. I was thinking it was the cinnamon I was picking up on, but nutmeg. Oh, delicious.
Yeah. So yeah, I basically I love the challenge of working with chocolate. I love the artistry and just the ability to just experiment and do really different things. And it's great. Oh, so that was Jeff. I love eggnog.
Judy wants to clarify, yeah,
Yeah.
that she loves eggnog, and I'm glad to know that.
Yes.
Willow, what is next in this box of deliciousness?
Okay, so we're gonna switch now to the almond roca. So that is the one that is rolled in the ground almonds. And then this is again, yep, there you go. Another classic holiday chocolate. Like I said before, my mom used to make this when we were kids. And it was funny, she would take the tray once she had spreaded it out, she would take it outside and put it on the snow because it was usually always snowing when we were kids. And that's how she would cool it.
I thought I was the only one that knew that trick.
Right.
You have to make sure that your dog's inside when you do that, though.
Very, very true. So essentially with this one, it's a milk chocolate ganache, and then I make a milk toffee bar. And so I make toffee bits, and then I always have like this leftover tiny little bits of toffee. And so I was like, oh, I should use this and make this ganache and then roll it in almonds. And it basically became the almond roca. So it was
so yummy. That's like the freshest almond roca that I've ever had. I feel like I get those boxes at Christmas that sit there and that they're just a totally different beast than that. That was delicious.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
I'm a bit of a novice when it comes to chocolate. Tell me what ganache is.
Okay, so ganache is essentially the creamy center of a truffle. So the more proper way of looking at it is a ganache is a mixture of either chocolate and cream or chocolate and butter or chocolate and water. So it's you emulsify it to make the creamy center of the truffle.
Different from nugget or similar?
Oh, are you thinking of nougat?
Nougat, yes.
Yes, very different from nougat. So nougat is an aerated confection. So you basically whip egg whites and sugar, and then you add more sugar to it. And then you can add like a classic nougat has nuts, generally pistachios and almonds and maybe some dried fruit. But I also actually one of the chocolates tonight has a chocolate nougat in it.
Ooh. Okay, good. Then I'll get to taste the difference. I obviously need to brush up on my Great British Baking Show, right? I've prepared myself for this.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it is better than almond roca. Thanks, Lorna. I appreciate that. And Kathleen, I went to culinary school in Portland. I went to the Le Cordon Bleu program there way back in the day. It's been about 15 years now. So it was Western Culinary Institute when I went. It's not there anymore, but I think that they still might have a Le Cordon Bleu program in Portland. Oh, she lived in Portland, so she knew. Perfect. Yeah, it was right downtown in the Galleria building. And it was great. I mean, it's funny, I go back and forth. Do I regret it? No, I don't. Do I love my student debt that I have from it? Not so much, but but it put me on the path where I'm at. So I'm very fortunate that it happened. So
I think a lot of us share in those feelings.
Right, exactly. Okay, so we are going to move to, I think the Persephone is going to be the one that we should do next. And so it is the one that has the beautiful brocade pattern on the top.
How do you do this? I showed it to my daughter and she said, did she print on this? It's so beautiful.
It's kind of like that. So it's essentially a cocoa butter transfer sheet. So it is cocoa butter that's printed on a sheet of acetate. And then I cut it into squares. And when the chocolate's still wet, you put it on top. And as it cools, it contracts and transfer the design onto the chocolate. So this one is a pomegranate molasses caramel paired with a chocolate nougat. So the idea behind this chocolate was, which you guys feel free to get in there and taste it. So I have a classics degree. That's my background. And so I learned Greek mythology and Roman, history and literature.
Would it be easier to tell us which degrees you don't have?
And so one of the Greek myths is Persephone and Demeter, and essentially Persephone gets kidnapped by Hades and taken into the underworld. And while she's down there, Hades tricks her into eating these pomegranate seeds, and that is essentially why we have winter. And so I thought that it would be I thought it would be a good play on the name to call it the Persephone based on that myth. And pomegranate molasses is such a really interesting flavor, and I wanted to make it into a caramel. And I found this caramel recipe when I was at a workshop in Vegas, 2014. And so it made it easily cutable, because sometimes the caramel can be a pain when you add fruit purees to
Yeah,
it.
those beautiful layers that you have there. It's amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, I just thought that it's almost kind of like a Milky Way, but interesting play on a Milky Way. So that's kind of my idea behind it. So it looks like we got some chats here.
We have some great chats, and I just want to share them. We've all decided to take up a fund. We think that student debt for culinary school should be forgiven, especially after tasting your chocolate, which I think is so true. And then someone's asking about how is it hard to get started making chocolate at home for those of us with little skill and experience, as we've proven so far?
Well, I would say no, because that's how I started, essentially. I mean, I got the foundation of what I do now, but I did a lot of, I'm sorry if that came through. I don't know if you guys can hear. Give me one, sorry. Okay. It's coming through on my computer, and I don't know if you guys can hear that. So my apologies.
No problem. We're all living the same things these days. So
yeah, I started everything. I started doing everything at home to start. I mean, I have the foundations of what I do, but yeah, for the first 10 years, pretty much, 12 years, I was doing it out of my house. So it's not. Chocolate is a finicky medium, so it does take a little bit. I've definitely yelled at chocolate many, many times over the years when it didn't turn out. But it just takes a lot of patience, and I have some great resources for anybody who really wants to give it a go. There is a culinary forum online that I used a lot, and they have like basics just starting out into very, very experienced stuff. So yeah, you can definitely do it at home for sure.
good. Well, would you tell us what we should get up next? And while
Yes.
you're doing so, we'd love to learn too about your Yeti of the Month Club. I think some of us are thinking about holiday gift giving and wondering if we'd be.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the next one that I think would be a good option to do would be the gingerbread. So it's the one that says Season's Greetings on the top. Again, this is another very classic holiday flavor. This one has molasses. So this one is a butter ganache. So it's essentially softened butter is mixed with chocolate, and it's usually you have to have some sort of sweetening agent, whether it's honey or a jam. And in this case, it's molasses. And so then it also has those classic ginger and nutmeg and cloves and cinnamon.
Oh, that's delicious.
So yes, just general, like it makes you think gingerbread house. So the Yeti of the Month Club, it's essentially a subscription service. You get $1 off what a normally priced box would be. And it's essentially you sign up for it, and then chocolates get delivered to either your door or the person of your choosing's door for, right now I have it as a 3-month, 6-month, or unlimited subscription. And so it's kind of like any other like auto pay, subscription service. It basically comes out of your account. The order comes through the same time every month. And the nice thing about the subscription service is I like to try and give my subscribers like extra incentives for being subscribers. So I send them chocolates that I don't normally sell because I like to play around. I like to experiment, come up with new flavors. And so it's nice to have I like to get feedback sometimes too. And so I send it out to my subscribers, things that I'm not selling retail. So that's kind of how it all is set up. So essentially, you can do a 4-box, 6-box, 12-box, a 3-bar pack, or a mystery box. So it's basically $25 of product that's just randomly selected by me and gets sent to you every month.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I love learning about that. Well, I'm excited for that for gift giving. I'm starting to think about the holidays. Does chocolate ship well? Have you had any trouble with that?
So the only time I really have problems with it is in the summertime. This was the first year that I've had to ship with dry ice because I had a guy order 7 12-piece boxes and 5 of them were going to Texas. And so in the middle of summer. And so I shipped them all with dry ice. And then I have a friend who was actually a subscriber and her stuff was going to Tucson. And then I found out that one of the orders melted. And so the next order I shipped with dry ice. Luckily, she said that they still tasted good because I was going to give her a refund and she was like, don't you dare.
Scraping this off the box and being just as happy.
Yeah. I have had friends that have said that they forgot them in the car and they were like melted in their paper cups and they just licked them out of the paper because they knew they were so good.
I would do the same. I am loving what people are sharing. It says people love the taste of gingerbread. It tastes just like it. People are picturing eating a box of these while their husband decorates the Christmas tree.
Oh,
it's so sweet. I love that. I can picture that. Feels like the holidays. That's fun.
For sure. Yes. Okay. So I guess we will roll. I guess, does that answer the question about the Yeti of the Month Club? If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to ask. But yes, I have been meaning to advertise that the Yeti of the Month is a great option for gift giving because, the 3-month, it's like the gift that keeps on giving for a couple more months. So
that's a great idea. I love it.
Okay, so the last flavor of the season's greetings is the peppermint stick. So this is what we like to call in the business a melt-away. So it is different than a ganache in a sense. So it is dark chocolate,
beautiful,
with coconut oil. And then I add some peppermint extract, or not extract, it's actual peppermint oil. I get these food grade essential oils from a company in Indiana, and they're like really top-notch stuff. And then this is actually a dairy-free flavor, so it has no dairy in it, and I use dairy-free chocolate with it. So if you have dairy-free people in your lives, you can add this. I haven't done it on the website yet, but I am going to offer it as with the dairy-free options that I have available for the December months. If you want to include it in your dairy-free box, it's an option. So.
Oh, I never would have known that was dairy-free. It's amazing.
Yeah. So it's not super overwhelming, but it gives you that really like good, lovely peppermint flavor. Makes you think like, it's got candy canes on the top, but it also makes you think like you're eating a candy cane.
What inspires your flavors? How do you come up with these? They're
with these ones, it's pretty easy. It's very holiday inspired, but coming up with flavors, it's a whole host. Like the one for the surprise flavor is it has a little bit of a backstory to it. And sometimes like the lemon cardamom that's available in the fall collection was based off of a syrup that I made one time for pancakes. And I was like, oh, that sounds like it would be good in a chocolate. And then, it's just other people ask me to, like, my very first chocolate I ever made was actually my sister wanted me to try and make a coffee drink that she used to get with her coworkers, and she wanted to give that to her coworkers for Christmas. And so that was how I developed it, and it is now one of my best-selling chocolates. So
Yum, that sounds good.
yeah. Do I ever make mistakes? I'd be willing to help you dispose of them. Yes, not as many as I used to, but I still do make mistakes. And I usually either eat them sometimes or I give them away. I usually do, if I have mistakes, I sample them. Pre-COVID, I did a lot of sampling, not so much right now, but somebody asked about commercial kitchen. I am using a commercial kitchen. My kitchen is licensed by the state, and I found it on Craigslist. I was still working for the Forest Service at the time, and I was in the process of wanting to transition out. And so I just happened to look when I was on an assignment and found this ad on Craigslist for the space. And I said, well, I'm just going to call the guy up. And he is a great human being, so full of energy, but he's a great landlord, and he saved the space for me until I got home. So it was like 3 months. He didn't charge me rent, and he was just really passionate about what I was doing. And so it was really great. And yeah, I feel very, very blessed, because it was very, very fortunate that I found what I have now. It's a great
We're
space.
all very glad that you found what you did so that we could share in this. Thank you. So you talked about your kitchen, and I know that we got to pick up from the Salt Creek Apothecary, which was a really fun shop, and I'm really glad you sent us there. So you must not have a storefront. Tell us about how we find your business chocolates.
For sure. So you can come out. I can sell chocolates from my space, but I don't have like a storefront in the actual sense. But if you do want to get my chocolates, you can always order online, yetichocolates.com. And then I can right now, actually, I just resumed because of the restrictions that just came about. In the spring, when we first had our lockdown, I was doing Friday deliveries just to give my customers the option to get chocolates delivered to their door. And it's a free service that I offered from basically April through May, into early June. And I reinstated that. So I'm re-implementing my Friday delivery. So I do my first delivery tomorrow. You have to order by noon on Wednesdays because I'm really busy. But I will deliver chocolates to your door for the next 4 weeks. So it's an option for you. The other options right now, Balsam Root Boutique in Pybus carries my chocolates, Rhubarb Market, Yield Bookshop, Icicle Coffee and Chocolates in Leavenworth, Sierra Sandage Winery in Manson, Fielding Hills Winery in Chelan, and Chris Daniel Winery. They're not operating right now, but they were carrying my chocolates. And then Salt Creek Apothecary and I are working on some custom bars for them. So they're herb infused bars, and they should be launching here pretty soon. So I think that's all of the places that you can get them. And then you can also do local pickups in town. And I, pre-COVID, was doing pop-up tables at Pybus. And I will be at Pybus on Saturday. We are doing a holiday market outside. So you can come. We'll be there from 10 to 2. And then I will also be at Pybus December 12th from 10 to 2 outside in the parking lot. So we're just trying to do as many, least risk options to still provide our services to the community.
Oh, good. Well, I love all of these partnerships. The museum's all about partnerships these days too, always. But what a fun opportunity for us to visit some of those other local businesses and pick up some of your delicious chocolates while we're there.
Yeah.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell me about what's in this box.
Okay, so you definitely want to do a little palate cleansing because the peppermint is a very strong flavor. But open the box and you'll get to see I want people to see it before I explain what it is, because I think it's quite stunning.
Wow. Oh, it's amazing. It's like a robin's egg.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So Brooklyn is the only one that has probably tried this one before because she is a subscriber. So sorry, Brooklyn, it's not as much of a surprise for you. But this is a basil and vanilla balsamic caramel. So I
She's
got
not complaining. She loves them all no matter what.
So I infused fresh basil into the cream, and then I used vanilla balsamic from D'Olivo and made it into a caramel. So the idea behind this chocolate was that when I was in culinary school, my dessert chef used to own her own chocolate company. And she said that one of her best-selling chocolates was a vanilla bean basil chocolate. And so it had always been kind of in the back of my mind of like, oh, vanilla bean basil. I'd love to play around with that. And I was in D'Olivo buying fig balsamic for my fig jam and chocolate and part of the fall collection. And I saw the vanilla balsamic and I was like, oh, I want to pick some of that up. And then I got some basil from Royal Produce in my produce box. And I was like, here it is, I'm going to make it. And so I put the two together and it was a match made in heaven. And
Oh, it's so delicious. And you had us at D'Olivo. We did a tasting with them a couple of months ago, and I'm just in love with everything that is filling my cupboard right now.
yeah. So people will have seen it. I have posted this chocolate on my Instagram, but I made it as a subscriber only, which I'm sure there were a lot of people who are super jealous. So this is another great, just like sneak peek insiders, option to do these sort of things. And I'm super, super thankful that you guys wanted to do this because I love collaborating. I do lots of collaboration, so it's really fun to get to support you guys and then, get to do these fun events with other people and just share my craft and my passion.
I'm so glad that you shared it with us. Thank you. And I feel really special that you shared that fun surprise with us too. Thank you for sharing that
Of course.
exclusive one. We have a lot of comments from regarding the surprise chocolate. Someone was asking if you have that in a dairy-free option.
I don't currently, but I could easily turn that into a dairy-free piece for sure.
You talked on your website about how you're small batch chocolates. Can you explain what that means?
So essentially small batch, I pretty much the largest batch I make at a time is maybe 300 pieces. So it's very in the scheme of things, if you think of like large chocolate producers versus small batch, like large chocolate producers are doing like tens of thousands of pieces at a time. And I'm doing just, it's on average, I would say the average batch size that I do is between 100 and 200 pieces at a time. I like to do smaller batches just because I feel like you can control the ingredients better. It's really hard sometimes when you expand a batch size to make sure that you're getting those components to adequately go through and that they don't get lost, once you make the ganache. So I like to make smaller batches to then have a little more control over the end product. And I also don't use preservatives in my chocolates, so they have a shorter shelf life, but I feel like it creates a better quality product. So I'm making more batches at a time, which obviously is more work for me, but it's worth it. Obviously, I think that you guys would agree.
It's worth it. I agree. I would have never known that that's what made that so delicious. I also feel like you're a little bit of an artist. There's artistry to this too. What inspires your designs? How do you decide how to put these together to make them so exciting?
So I would say the basis is trying to make the outside correspond with what's on the inside. So like with that vanilla bean basil, when you see vanilla translated out in the real world, it's usually white with like little specks of black for the vanilla bean. But I wanted to add that green layer to it, so you knew that that's got that basil component to it. And so like with my lime chocolate, it's like a lime green outside to correspond with the lime, idea of lime on the inside. And yeah, so I essentially try as much as I can to correspond with what's outside to what's on the inside. And that's kind of how I base a lot of my flavor. And I also, it's really hard it's hard to come up with brand new stuff. There's so many people in the business. And so you kind of copy people, you'll see people do. So like that design for the
Rather than
vanilla.
copy, we always say we're inspired by.
Right. Yes. So that's the vanilla bean basil was inspired by another
Great.
chocolatier in the business, Melissa Koppel. She's amazing. And she has a chocolate that it looks very similar. It's quite a bit different, but it's still, it kind of, I thought of her when I was like, oh, this would really look cool. And so that's kind of how, and then I went pre-COVID. It was like right before everything shut down. Went and took a master class in Michigan with this amazing chocolatier, and he showed us some really cool design elements that I've used in some of my new designs for some of my chocolates. So like my lavender vanilla caramel dairy-free I use a design element that he taught us. So yeah, so that's kind of how you just kind of go, well, I want to have this be part of it. Like I want to use this color and try and come up with the design to kind of correspond with what's inside.
So as we talk about what inspires you, at some point I was picturing you saying something about Bigfoot or the wilderness. I'm trying to connect back the name. Tell me what inspired you to name your business Yeti.
Yeah, so I get this question a lot. When I was in college, my senior year, I took a ceramics class. And so one of our final projects was to do a shoe and something else. And so I did a snowboarding boot with a Yeti popping out the top. And so when I was trying to come up with my name, my partner at the time was like, oh, you should do something mythical like Kraken chocolates. And I was like, the Yeti, I have to do Yeti. So when I was actually at the People's Marketplace last winter, I had that sculpture on display because I still have it. So that's my inspiration. And I guess it's fitting because Bigfoot's kind of a big deal up here. So
Kind of a big deal. Have you been up to Mission Ridge to see the Yeti installed at the top?
I haven't in person, but I've seen lots of photos. It's pretty great. And I don't know if you guys saw photos, if you follow me on Instagram, but I dressed up as a Yeti for Halloween this year because I was outside at the market.
I don't yet follow you, but I'm excited to. That's worth checking out for sure.
Yes.
So someone is a kindred spirit with me. I actually love watching cooking shows or baking shows like Zumbo and Great British Baking Show. And so someone was asking if you enjoy watching those or if you've ever entered any.
I have not entered any, although it was really funny because another friend of mine in the biz had just said that she had entered some of her chocolates for this chocolate competition or chocolate awards. I need to follow more of that stuff because I'm sure I could probably win, but I'm not privy to things going on like that. So I need to pay more of attention. I don't know if I'd ever want to go on a like actual competition show where I have to make things. I think I would do terribly, but I do love watching all of those cooking shows. They're great. Great British Bake Off. I love that show probably the most just because I love how supportive they are with each other. It's not so much of just like this cutthroat competition and people getting catty. I mean, I watch Chopped and I hate the ego, but I enjoy the creativity of it. But I love the Great British Baking Show just because people are they're so nice and they support each other and it brings me back to culinary school because there's a lot of stuff that they do that I definitely did when I was in culinary school. So it kind of just like refreshes my memory of like, oh yeah, I remember doing those back in the day. So it's a lot of fun.
Maybe post-COVID, we need to do a local Great British Baking Show. Local
Right?
talent. Yeah.
That would be fun. Yeah, I'd probably do
but
awful.
You're only allowed to enter if you build each other up, like the Great
That's
British
right.
Baking Show. Yeah.
I agree for sure. And I mean, I actually did some classes. I was teaching classes last year. I did some just basic ganache making, truffle making, and I was supposed to do some marshmallow classes, and then COVID hit, and so I had to cancel them, which people were very sad about. So
Oh, well, I would love to hear about your classes. I'll make sure to follow you on social so I can keep up to date on that. And I'd like to invite anyone who has any last questions to share them with us and with Willow.
I did see somebody ask about how I do a dairy-free caramel. So I use coconut milk in lieu of cream. And then I make it just like you would a normal caramel. So you basically make, you heat the sugar and the water, because I don't do dried caramels. I am terrible at them. I burn them or they get crystallized. It doesn't work for me. So yeah, you heat the water and the sugar and the glucose, cook it to caramel, heat the coconut milk up, and then you add it just like you would a regular caramel. So it's just, I use coconut milk. I could use almond or the others, but the reason why I use coconut milk, it has the least amount of extra ingredients in it. For the most part, it's just like coconut and then like guar gum, I think. And I try to use as many organic and locally sourced ingredients, and I'm starting to expand that a lot more. Being able to work with Rhubarb Market and have my stuff in there is really going to help in the future to be able to source more fruits for doing, like, I make a strawberry cheesecake chocolate in the summertime and I make my own strawberry jam for it. And so I actually got to make strawberry jam with some locally sourced strawberries this summer, and it was awesome. So just being able to do that's really, really great.
Fresh off the tree, fresh off the vine, it makes such a difference. Oh, well, you've convinced me. We need to bring you back in the summer and try your summer package.
Yeah, it's really funny. My summer collection is one of my favorites, but summertime is not a great time for chocolates because it's so hot. So I don't sell as many chocolates in the summertime, but I make a s'mores chocolate that people love, and I do a creme brulee chocolate that's pretty off the hook. So I mean, I have some great summer flavors. They just don't get as enjoyed as much as the rest. So
And that makes sense when you talk about shipping and all that. Well, we promise not to make you ship to us in the summer.
I appreciate that.
Good. Well, I want to thank you, Willow. I learned so much about this, and I'm so excited to learn about local talent and your store and all the stores that support you throughout town. And I'm just so glad that you shared this with us. So thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I want to thank our guests and Lorna, our other panelists. Thank you so much for being here tonight to share this time. I know that everyone is probably on Zoom overload like I am.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
So, yeah, it really means a lot to us to have you join us here. So
Yes.
I want to invite everyone who hasn't had the opportunity, make an appointment at WenatcheeValleyMuseum.org to come check out our featured art gallery and our gift shop. And I just want to thank you for supporting the museum through your ticket sales tonight and for buying local with Yeti chocolates. We at the museum, we depend on your support, especially now. And from all of us, we want to thank you. We can't wait to be back together again in person.
For sure. Thank you guys so much, everybody who came tonight. And it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a good time. And for those who have never tried my chocolates before, I hope you enjoyed them. And for those that are fans, thank you so much for supporting me and supporting the museum.
And thank you, Kristen, for being such a great facilitator. And Willow, this is the most fun I've ever had on Zoom.
Oh, yay!
Every Zoom meeting should have chocolate from here on forth.
For sure.
I think that should be a law.
For sure. Awesome. Good night, everybody. Thank you so
Good
much.
night. Bye.
Good night.